Okay, very good morning to one and all persons here. In the previous sections, I have to discuss about the body area networks. And unit 1, there is a different information I have to discuss. So today I have to discuss about the second one more topic, that is the mobile computing microcontroller units. So in that mobile computing microcontroller units, what are the different types and then different factors and then how it will be communicates, all those things I have to discuss today. So in this case of mobile computing MCUs, normally the mobile computing microcontroller units or else compact and then low power single chip computers integrating a CPU, memory and input peripherals having there and then specified designed for the specialized real-time tasks in the portable battery operated devices like wearable or sensors or under IoT gadgets. So they offer high efficiency and then cost effectiveness and then compact size compared to the microprocessor. This is general information about the MPUs microprocessor uh, units. So in this case, the different categories are shown. One more categories like as mobile computing MCUs. In the case of mobile computing MCUs, there is a CPU model and then MCU model and then MPU model and then SoC and then MCM. So in this case of multiple chip models are to previous stages have to adopted for the number of integrated circuit are to put together connected in the one single circuits roughly around 10,000, 20,000 ICs. And then next this ICs have to go for the SoC, that is a system on chip. For example, instead of 500 ICs have to go for only two to three ICs have to operate it for these cases. Next, that generations have to modify into the MPU, that is a microprocessing unit. The number of instead of 1000 to 2000 integrated circuit chips have to operated by the individual single chip itself, that is the microprocessor units, and then used for the different type of applications. And then next generations will be modified into the MCU, that is a microcomputer units. The number of single chip ICs are to put together in that common mode fabrics and then have to operate it for the different applications. In nowadays, that is a CPU model, that is a control processing units. The number of microcomputer units are to clubbed onto the single semiconductor devices, then only have to adapt it for the processing modes. So in this case of MCU means the normally any small computer units are generally simplified, known as a microcontroller. It is a computer on a chips owned to control electronic devices. It is a one responsible microchips, association self-sufficiency and price effectiveness. Whereas the general purpose of microchips needs different further chips to produce these different categories of functions also. So normally any type of mobile computing MCUs having the input devices, get it from the input devices, the input is given to the microcontroller units. Normally any type of microcontroller units having the processing units and then output cycle as is directed to the instructions to output signals. The output devices normally any type of motor or LEDs or any type of electrical appliances are to connected. So in this MCU containing of three main parameters, that is the CPU normally and then memory and then peripheral functions. The CPU had always used to reads, decodes and then execute the instructions, and then memories have to store the informations regarding the programming data, and then peripheral functions connects to CPU and then input and then output devices. So these are generally connected in the MCUs, that is the mobile computing units. So based upon the input informations, the output devices have to give the signals and then get it for the numerical data. So normally any type of mobile computing MCUs giving different informations like as input output devices or unlocked to digital converters or timer circuits or otherwise the central processing units and then flash units and then uh, random access memory or read only memory, all the informations and then etc. All the informations are to put in the single common MCU structures, then only have to operate it for the microprocessor controllers. That means the mobile computing MCUs controllers. So in this mobile computing MCUs, normally the four categories are there. One is the program counter, that is the PC, and then instruction decoder, and then the arithmetic and logic units, ALU systems, and then CPU internal registers. These four combinations will be arise in the CPU controller computations. So each and every systems are to give the instructions accordingly. The instructions codes are to operated and then give the output informations in the case of arithmetic and logical units itself, or otherwise any type of central processing unit internal registers. Based upon the registers data reference value, then the final numerical information sent by the body have to accumulate it. So in this case, operations normally, the basic uh, logic gates informations. That logic gate informations like as any type of binary codes by way of high value or low value, that the addresses are to fix, then only the binary data are to transmit from one register to other registers by the serial sequence or parallel sequence like this. These all the registers have to discuss in the previous semester in the microprocessor and microcontroller. So in these cases, that four addresses, that all the addresses should be the zero. That the instructions are to given to read the value of memory addresses 0100 and store it in the register 1 itself. Simultaneously, suppose the register address 0002 means add the value of register 2, the previous sections, to the value of register 1 and save the results in the register 1 itself. Normally, the address data have to go for the 0100 means it will be indicated in the case of 3, and then 0101 is indicated in the data means the data should be the 4. Likewise, the addresses and then the values have to encryptions, then only the final data have to transmit each and every registers based upon the addressing modes. So the hardware requirements for any type of uh, microcontroller systems like as sensors or any type of which type of microcontroller and then microprocessor and then transceivers and then power management units, that is a PMU units. Another one is the security models, what type of antennas are to used, and then different categories of data storages, and then variable form factors, and then biometric authentication sensors. Another one is the onboard processing units. All those things, these are the general hardware requirements for any type of low power microcontroller unit itself. So each one and one are to discuss in that. So first cases, the sensor, all of them we know the sensor. The auto sensor is the sensing information or give the signal to that particular locations. So in this case of band typical incorporated the various type of sensors to collect the physiological data such as head, head rate and then body temperature, blood pressure and then muscle activities, etc. So these sensors can be embedded in wearable devices or directly attached to the body, and there is a two way of sensor should be adapted. One is the direct sensor, another one is the indirect sensors. In the case of direct sensor, a sensor that can convert the non-electrical stimulus to electrical signal into the intermediate stages. Suppose indirect sensor means normally any type of sensors multiple conversations to transform the measured signal into the electrical signals. So in these cases, these are example for the direct sensor like as a thermocouple, that is the temperature are to sense and it will be converted to the voltages level. Other type of sensor should be there. One is the breathing rate sensor, or otherwise the head rate sensor, and then cough muscles sensors. So each and every sensors have to do some other informations, get it from our body conditions. There is a breathing rate sensor detects the chest expansions as the result of breathing for all the time period. Suppose head rate sensors normally detect the pressure changes, and then cough muscle sensors are to normally detect by the cough undergoes the activities for the regular activity. Suppose gait sensor means it will be detect the ground reactions for that induced in that walking during the walking forces. These are the informations have to gather from this type of different type of sensor informations, and different type of sensors have to discuss in the next class.